there and welcome back to the Worship Podcast. I can't believe it's worship. I'm Lester Sim.
And I'm Lester Ong.
And once again, this is the Worship Podcast for amateurs by amateurs. In our previous episode, it was meant to be our last episode, recorded here in Japan. But we realized that it actually took a long time for us to describe the first few days and our thoughts, what we gleaned from our experience. And so it did take a while. And hence, we are splitting it into two. And now we're going to talk about the second half. In the first half, we did more ministry with churches. We did a gospel night. We did a worship seminar in Miyazaki. We went to a church in Aira, and then we did a worship seminar back in Kagoshima. So now we're going to talk about the days that come after, because as much as the ministry is done, but we continue to see God do incredible things. And so we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
So, here we go. Monday. Tell us what happened on Monday.
Monday, actually, it was just mind-blowing because Kevin had started doing some work in a English teaching school.
Yeah.
And his boss, which we can only describe as a woman of peace in the city, not a believer, but she begged Kevin to bring our team into an elementary school to present gospel music and to teach on what the gospel actually is.
Yeah.
So I think we were blown away because even though it wasn't entirely clear that that was what we were meant to do in the early stages, I think you said that we weren't really particularly keen on doing it initially because we were focusing on the worship ministry side.
Yeah.
I think God surprised us in a different way this time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we... firstly, Shiori's a great person, and I'm actually so thankful that we got to meet her.
Yeah.
And when we met her, we actually met her, I think, a day or two before.
I think it was before the weekend. She brought us out to lunch.
That's right. Yeah, she did bring us out to lunch. So we had a chat with her and whatnot, and found out that she's so good. And I remember asking her, okay, so what were the kids told? Were they told that this is just a music event that they're coming to see during their curriculum time? And she said, they're told that this is gospel music. And I was like, great. Gospel music. So I said, do they know what gospel is? And she said, possibly no. And I said, great. We get to explain what the gospel is to them. And she said, yes, please. And I was like, okay. And so, of course, it wasn't a full-blown message, but we talked about the big picture of the gospel. And we taught them like a piece like a river with some actions, which was really fun. And I think...
and I think your intention of setting that song up with the actions was you had this in your mind. And I'm really appreciative of your being part of the driving force of this, because you're a teacher yourself and interact with students all the time, because... to be honest, kids kind of freak me out a bit.
Yeah, and hang on, we forgot to mention this. So when we asked her how many kids, because she said 3 classes, right? Grade 6, 4, and 3, and we asked how many students are there going to be in each session. Mind you, whenever we ask this question on a missions trip here in Japan, we always get the answer of anywhere between 1 to 20 or between 1 to 50. So we are like, we never know what to expect. And for this one, she said, every class is going to be about 60. And we're like, what? 60? And we were all pretty shocked. and even Kevin was like, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And so we realized that we basically had the chance to tell 180, close to 200 kids
Yeah.
what the gospel was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and of course, I think it, as a part of us honoring Shiori, because Shiori's an English teacher, I know that her heart was that she wanted us to be there so that we could also speak in English and teach them English. So we were trying to also weave in the idea of teaching them English by helping them with asking questions, helping them with the singing of the song and stuff like that. So I think it worked out well. I think she felt like we hit the
brief.
Yeah, and we did what she wanted, and we were so thankful because we got to do what we wanted to do, which was to tell them about the gospel, good news.
Yeah. And yeah, my point, not to butter you up, but to say that it was quite providential that, you know, you're a worship leader in church, but you're also, your day job is as a school teacher.
Yeah.
And not only a school teacher, a Christian education teacher as well. And so,
yeah, actually, now that you say that, like, everything just kind of just meshed in together.
Yeah, that's right. And so I don't know whether it was the Holy Spirit or your personal smarts, but you wanted to teach them. I've got peace like a river with actions, because you imagine kids in the playground, you know, doing actions together.
Yeah, these kind of clappy stuff.
Yeah. And so I thought that was just really, really clever. So you had the ability to present the gospel at a level where the kids could understand, hopefully. Yeah. And then we taught them a song so that the idea of God giving them peace in the midst of whatever struggles they would have on a day-to-day basis would mean that they can remember God throughout, for the time after the session had finished.
Yeah.
And replay it in the playground.
Yeah. And what we did see is that, and of course, Shiori was so kind and she said, the kids really enjoyed it. But we actually got to see how much they enjoyed it, because we saw someone actually sent a video to us. I'm not sure how it got to us, but a video of her son, who happened to be in the primary school, doing the actions at home because he was so taken by what we did. And apparently the kids were, in their school diaries, they all wrote down the event as their highlight or something like that.
Wow.
And so we were just blown away that we would have never thought that this would have such a big impact. And I'm honestly humbled and thankful that we got to do it, because we were almost so like stuck up in that sense to go like, this is beyond this, because we're here to do ministry, but we decided to basically say, hey, you know what, Kevin, we're here to serve you, and if going to this elementary school is the way to serve you, then we'll do that, and worked out so beautifully well.
Yeah, and of course I might have said this before, but Kevin, everyone loved Kevin.
Yep. Everybody.
And I despaired somewhat, because as soon as the kids walked into the room, they just made a beeline for Kevin.
And they didn't know him.
They didn't know him. And I'm like, I'm right here.
Yeah. We also had, at the end, we had, what was it? We were walking out, and just by nature of how we streamed out, we were walking in a single file. And Lester was in front of me. Kevin was right at the end, so Kevin was right behind me. And some of the kids that we had interacted with in the 3 classes had come out of their classes with pieces of paper and a pen, asking for autographs. And they walked toward us, walked right past Lester, walked right past me, and went straight for Kevin. That was really a little bit of a stab to the heart.
Look, I don't need the adulation of children.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that to make a point that Kevin really has favor.
Yeah, he's kind of like Jesus. Let the little children come to me.
Yeah. And some of the things that were cool to point out about this was that the vice principal had sat in for one of the lessons, and she recorded quite a fair bit of it, and she participated as well. She heard the gospel.
Yeah.
The teachers that were there, homeroom teachers were there, they heard the gospel as well. Apparently they loved it, they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And they enjoyed the experience of learning English, singing the songs together. And like, I would have never imagined an impact like this.
Yeah. And I wonder, in our Australian context, how many schools you'd be allowed to do that in, that they're a non-Christian school, for example.
Yeah.
Could you actually go in there and preach the gospel to 180 kids?
Yeah. So I guess in a sense, Japan's open.
Yeah.
They are open, and I think sometimes we do get a sense from the outside that they're not willing to hear the gospel. But from our experience, as we're going to tell you, and as we're going to continue to tell you, the doors are actually really open. They want to hear. People want to hear. One more thing. In the middle of two classes, I thought it was a good moment to sit down at the piano and start singing some more gospel songs than I Got Peace Like a River. And so we started singing Amazing Grace. And at that point, kids had come in to get more autographs from Kevin.
I got some pity autographs.
Yeah, I got pity autographs too. I'm pretty sure our autographs were with erasable pens or something so that they could scrub it off after. But because they were coming in, the door was wide open, and we are decently loud singers. And so Kevin was saying Amazing Grace was reverberating through like the entire floor. And he's like, wow, that's so amazing. I guess it is amazing.
Grace.
Yeah. So I would have never thought. And then, hang on. This was the school, and then we went for lunch.
Yes.
Wow. We went for the lunch, and this was lunch with Shiori, because she wanted to thank us, and she was really kind to us. She also invited 4 of her friends, to whom adult friends, to whom she is currently in the midst of teaching them English. And so they sat with us. We talked with them. And it was great fun knowing them. But Kevin looked at me and he said, "Hey, do you reckon we could sing a song for them right here in the restaurant?" And I looked around. We were the only ones. It was a small, quaint, nice restaurant. And because one of them wouldn't be there for an event on Wednesday. So the other 3 would be there, but one of them wouldn't be there. But on Wednesday, we would be singing for an English class, in that sense, for adults. So one of them wasn't going to be there. So Kevin's like, "Hey, for her, do you think we could sing a song?" And I said, "Oh, I reckon we could." So we asked the restaurant owners, we asked Shiori, and we said, "Are you okay with it?" And restaurant owners were like, "Okay." Shiori said, "Yeah, sure, go for it." We stood up, we sang. I think by that time I realized that when it comes to singing worship songs like Amazing Grace, like it's not just a song. Like, it really gets to you because it's the gospel is in there. We are in there as well, and we have to reflect on our own experience. So my eyes were closed. I sang it with as much conviction, and everyone sang it with as much conviction as we could. But when I opened my eyes at the end of Amazing Grace, I was really kind of taken aback to see that 2 of them were in tears.
And it wasn't because I was a bit out of tune with my harmony.
We will never know. Hey, and by the way, we were actually pretty out of tune. That was one of the times that I felt like, oh, I can't keep a melody because I felt like what's going on? Like I felt so thrown off by the harmony, so we didn't sound good. But people were touched by it. Like one of them was, it wasn't just like oh, it sounded so good, but it was how would you describe that kind of a cry? It wasn't, yeah, because it's not like oh, I'm so touched by that music, but it was more.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but clearly she was moved.
Yeah, and I think she continued crying on for about a minute or so after we had stopped. And I just sat there stumped. Like, firstly, how open is this land that here we are, we're just singing Amazing Grace. We didn't even describe it. Like, we didn't explain it. But yet people hear it and they're moved. It's almost like they have never heard of this grace that's extended to us. And I was honestly like, I don't know, this is a very teary trip. But when I saw those two ladies crying, I was also almost moved to tears. Yeah, so that was Monday, and we reflected on that. It was would have never expected it.
Yeah, even over a simple lunch.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Did we do anything else on Monday?
No, we didn't.
Yeah, then Tuesday was interesting because we Kevin had made friends with a small little cafe. And we had visited this cafe prior just to kind of say hi to the owners. And the owners are super cool, by the way. Like, they're musicians.
Yes. And they've got like all sorts of gear upstairs in the cafe.
Yeah, they do have like a small little music studio. And so they have like their songs on Spotify as well. We checked them out after we met them first. And I was like, hey, these guys are really good. Like, Samishima is really good on the guitar, and he just got this like cool attitude, cool face to him. I was like, wow, he's just super cool. And Kozue was she just has such a bright smile about her, and how she sings is just so incredible. Such joy, I guess, with how she sings. And so we got to go to their cafe, and we were, I guess when we looked at the advert that was on their socials, we saw, hey, we got this group coming from Faith Community Church, and sometimes, they try to leave out the church word, right? But they put it in there and they say, come on down, let's have some great music, let's party. I was a little worried about the word party, but but we rocked up. A small space. We were wondering how we fit people. We had maybe about 4 people from Gospel Night and the worship seminars show up. And that was actually super good because when it was really packed, I think we had about half of them non-Christians, half of us Christians.
Yeah.
And hey, Gospel Night as a tagline for introducing us or like advertising us is just such a open door because, hey, welcome to Gospel. Not Gospel Night, Gospel Music. I mean Gospel Music. Yeah, welcome to this time that we can sing gospel music for you. But what is the gospel? And so we are almost entitled to sing Christian songs.
Yeah,
because this is the gospel to us. And I think like my highlight of the moment was us singing "Goodness of God." That like really hit me. Like, how is it that we are in a secular establishment singing goodness of God at such a loud volume, not just us, but like the church members as well? And it was such a sweet moment.
Yeah. It literally turned the cafe into a church.
Yeah, it was super cool.
And literally taking worship out of the 4 walls of the church.
Yeah. And we had some song requests And then we gave the time over to some of the musicians there, including the cafe owners, to play some music for us. I think it was just such a great time of connecting with the locals.
Yeah, and for me as well, like, you know, these two things, hanging out with the kids and performing music in a cafe, these two things just freak me out, because I've always felt comfortable in my calling as a worship person, not as a performer of music.
Yeah.
And so I really wasn't looking forward to singing in a cafe. But again, I think God surprised me that, you know, we weren't actually performing anymore. We were worshiping.
Yeah.
And in fact, the days when I used to sing with Stephanie Truscott, gospel music, and going to prisons and hospitals, came home to roost in a good way, because we had to fill the time, and I was just plucking out all these gospel standards that we used to sing together.
Yeah.
And Chris was pretty amazing on his gospel chops.
Yeah.
He was able to just pick up a song and play along. And so it wasn't just a good time, because I really sensed that as we were singing gospel, there's so many people just feeling the joy of it.
Yes.
And the room was electric.
Yep.
So much laughter. It just felt like everyone was just so engaged the whole night.
Fully agree.
Yeah. And so for me, it began as a performance-like, but by the end of it, especially with some of the members of the church there, it really turned into worship.
Yes, definitely. I think at the end, it really started to feel like something else, not just a music event.
Yeah.
Incredible. I remember walking away with such adrenaline in me as well, and such a joy and a peace in my spirit. Like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. Yeah, incredible time.
Yeah.
Lester was a huge hit. When he was singing all the gospel songs, and at the end, like, you could tell, like, that the atmosphere in the room just lifted when you busted out all those songs that you knew from the time that you sang with Stephanie. And at the end, the restaurant owners came out, and they're like, they pointed at Lester and said, "Oh, kawaii." That's saying that he was really cute. Yeah, but dude, you did well. And it wasn't a performance, but you carried your worship out, and it engaged, and people could definitely see the joy of the Lord in your singing.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for that.
Yeah. That's all for Tuesday, right? Wednesday. And
this is really our final gig.
Yes, it was. It was our final formal event. So this was back doing something with Shiori again. This was with adult learners of English within her school. And so she rented out a place, like an event space, which wasn't the largest, but still was decent enough to maybe fit about 30 to 40 people. Maybe about 30 or 35, sorry. And there was they were so thoughtful with the setup. Like, they did up an entire, like, board with a faith community church. They had, like, decorations and whatnot. They brought out mats for us to stand on, so it almost felt like a stage. And from there, we basically had 2 hours to do gospel music, tell them what the gospel is. It was a super good time.
Yeah, and again, amazing. Here we are in a secular space.
Yeah,
with a secular so-called audience.
Yep.
Wanting to listen to gospel music.
Yeah,
but we had the opportunity, and Lester in particular was able to spend about 15 minutes at the beginning actually telling them, preaching the gospel to them.
Yeah.
I'm like, people pay $10 to come to this event.
Yeah.
To hear you preach the gospel.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that was. Yeah, I think beyond just being able to share the gospel with them, like you could. I was excited that for some of them, and they were really respectful. I just hope that the seed was sown within their hearts, right? Sorry, I'm not sure where I'm going with this. Sorry, maybe I'll just break this train of thought and say that Kevin did a very good job translating. He translated everything. He says that he was speed reading, but I think he still did well. Yeah, the Japanese said that he did really well. But after that, we went into once again doing our medley of Amazing Grace, It Is Well, and I Surrender All. We sang that. Open My Eyes at the end, and there were tears in the room again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the world's going on? Like in a humbling way, like, why is it that the gospel really is doing something here, even though we're just singing it, right?
Yeah.
Clearly there is something that's going on within their hearts that it's like, what is this thing that I have never sensed before?
Yeah.
Why am I moved by this? There is almost such a sensitivity.
Yeah.
That maybe for us back home, we've grown so desensitized because it's like, oh yeah, church, like gospel, yeah, Amazing Grace, yeah, know all about that. But yes, it's almost like if I could say on their behalf, like we've never heard this, or we've never heard something like this being sung. And once again, it wasn't just like tears of, oh, great music, but one of them was visibly, almost uncontrollably crying, and like she had to keep like wiping up her tears.
Yeah.
My voice isn't that good. It has to be the message. Yeah.
And the presence of God, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And so I don't know. I really feel like this is where we need to recognize that the Japanese people really are hungry.
Yeah.
They might not even know it themselves. Yeah.
And this is why we say Shiori is a woman of peace in the city.
Yeah.
Because that connection with Kev has meant that she's actually endorsing these things, and she wants us to do more, and she's asking us to come back again.
Yeah.
And she wants more of these events, and suddenly there's a bridge between the church and the unchurched places.
Yes.
And so I was just amazed that we were able to bring worship out into the secular places. And I'm not talking about some neat crossover type event. This is just worship. Yeah. Worship in the cafe, worship in this rented hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just amazing.
I actually would say that I didn't even feel hindered. Like there was nothing at all that said that, oh, please don't do this, or please don't mention this. It was almost like you have free reign, and we would ask, right? Like, what do you want us to do? And she would say, nah, just do whatever you guys will want to. I was like, wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of it, we ended off the entire day with a dinner. Was there anything else you wanted to say about that?
Yeah, no, I think the dinner was quite significant.
Yeah, we ended off with a dinner together with the pastors that we have interacted with throughout the entire trip. And we also invited Shiori because we interacted with her quite a fair bit as well. And the purpose of this dinner was to honor them by saying like, hey, thank you for letting us, for blessing us with your presence, I guess, just by being with us, and thank you for letting us into your lives. Because we stayed with Pastor Matsumoto and Pastor Toshiko, and even for Shiori to bring us into her job,
Yeah.
and so we wanted to honor that. So it was a great time of just fellowship.
But I think the critical moment was after we had munched on our sushi and pan fried beef,
which was really tasty.
Thanks, Jackie.
Yep.
But yeah, you then sort of shifted the conversation a bit.
Yes. So we had Pastor Toshiko ask us in the morning about our testimony of how we came to know the Lord, and she said, "I want to hear your testimonies." And I was like, "Hey, you know what? Tonight would be a great time to do that." And so, actually, you guys didn't know this, but in the back of my mind, throughout the entire day, I was waiting for the right moment. Like, I knew that I was gonna do it that night, and I was thinking, okay, what would that look like? And so I thought to myself, okay, all it takes is one person. And I even contemplated like standing up on the spot, going like, "All right, ding, 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 ding. I'm gonna share my testimony," because Pastor Toshiko asked for it. But it ended up being a very natural thing. So I just said, "Hey, okay, so we're gonna now share our testimonies," because there was a request for it. And so we went one round of all the members. We even asked Kev to share his testimony, and I think it was just a great time of honoring the Lord and how good He has been in our lives. And at the end, Shiori asked, she asked about the word testimony. She said, "All right, what's the word testimony in Japanese?" And Pastor Matsumoto was there providentially because he's a great translator, right?
Yes.
And so he was able to say what it was, and we were kind of tossing up like, "Oh, so why is it that the word testimony is used?" And I said, actually, testimony is a law term because you need a testimony of a witness in a courtroom, and providentially you were there.
No, yes, as I would be.
Yes, as a lawyer, right?
Yes,
and you were able to tell us that a testimony is to. Sorry, I forgot the definition.
Well, I think what I said was the elements that make up a legal proposition is actually not readily known to a layperson.
Yeah.
And so what is required in a court is for the elements to be established. And so the eyewitness accounts essentially are used to establish a fact.
So we got to say that, well, basically here we are, 5 people as eyewitnesses testifying to the fact that Jesus is the Son of God. Yeah. And I think there was something that you said and Kev said after about the way you talked about your testimonies.
Yeah, I think I certainly never shared my testimony in that particular form, but it just came very naturally. And bearing in mind that we had gone through this whole few days of worship and music and that sort of thing, and I was able to share my testimony in a way which basically how worship impacted my life.
Yeah.
From very early on, and then led to where I am today, and why I thought worship ministry was worth giving my life to. And Kev shared very honestly about his family as well, and he said, "Oh, I've never shared this before." Yeah. So there's certainly there was an anointing, for want of a better word, in the moment where we were able to share very openly and very clearly. And even Pastor Matsumoto said to me later, "It's Japanese people actually think that Christians, when they become Christians, their lives are all great, and so they don't really understand what happens to Christians.
So have we shown the opposite, that when you become a Christian, your life becomes horrible?
No, I think his point was that it showed that Christians are actually real people.
Yeah.
But despite the challenges, they at least have a greater hope.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And thereafter, the moment felt right. And okay, here we go. I'm going to use a Pentecostal term. I felt led in the spirit to say, hey, you know what? Let's do something. And we had providentially a grand piano in the house. And I said, maybe now's a good time for us to sing Goodness of God. Because after all that we had said, right, we're all pointing to how good God has been to us. And we all huddled around the piano. Some of us sat on the stairs, some stood around. Kind of like such a nice scene. I wish I could have seen it from that person's perspective, but and then I felt like the only way to jump into something like that was to pray. And that's when everything because as I started to pray, like, I think I had a fresh love for the Japanese people, and I really started crying, like, as I was praying. And I think some people were sniffling as well, and we
I'd say everybody was crying.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then when we sang, like, I just really heartfelt worship. And at the end, Pastor Matsumoto prayed. It was such an incredible time, and it wasn't conjured up just so Shiori could see this, but this is who we are, and I'm thankful that we got to be in that space, and I'm thankful that she got to see, like, yeah, what we're like, that we're real people.
And I think it really carried through the entire time, like, while we were there, and the setting might have been different. And this was just a dinner table, someone's house, but we were still carrying that worship anointing, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
And we were there to worship together, no matter what the situation called for. And I think the thing that just impacts me each time is, and I'm going to be charismatic again, the anointing is different here.
Yeah.
It's just different. And again, I wish more people could come and see it. And Noriko-san said to me, you know, in our church, we've been trying to push through, and we could never push through. And then you guys came, and we were able to get through. I said, actually, in our church, we're trying to push through, but we could never get through. And when we came together, Kagoshima and Perth came together.
Cities,
yeah. Coming together, actually, it was only then that together we both pushed through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really is, I can't really describe it. You've got to come to see it yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
The sense of God's presence is like nothing I've felt for a very, very long time.
And I think it's fair to say that, really, from my experience thus far, I do think that God is doing something in this nation. What that will look like might not be what we think it to be. It might not be that we'll see millions and millions, coming to know the Lord, but you can sense that God is moving. Yeah. So yeah, exciting times for the nation of Japan.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't talk about that ran through every single day, most days, I can't say every single day, was our Bible study. Once again,
Yeah.
great stuff. Oh, come on. Like, I really have to say it. we picked books that I felt like I would never be able to understand or glean too much from on my own. We picked the books of, what's the first one?
Habakkuk and Zephaniah.
Yeah, we did Habakkuk and Zephaniah. And can I be really honest and say that I was really surprised that we got such rich discussions. I would have never expected it. But I think every single time when we ended the discussions for our Bible study, we just went like, wow, who would have thought that one chapter in Habakkuk would mean so much? But I think it also was interestingly in theme with what we saw.
Yeah.
Because it ran along the lines of intercession, which was what you talked about in the worship seminar. And it's this idea of also God's grace being upon the remnant of Israel. And I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but I did feel like the Japanese people, the Japanese Christians, though they might be few, but in their faithfulness, they did remind me of the remnant in some sense, some shape or form. And yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of these passages in those two books talked about the remnant of Israel. But one of the things that I really carried with me when I first went to Japan in 2007 on a mission trip to do a worship seminar, so it's kind of like a full circle, was Isaiah chapter 6, which talks about how when the land is wiped out, there's still a stump in the land, and that stump is a holy seed.
Yeah.
And I've always believed that even though there was a Christian history in Japan and it was cut down by persecution in the 1600s, wiping out the Christian population to less than 1%, there was a stump in the land.
Yeah.
And God would bring it to pass again when that will begin to grow.
Yep.
And quite strangely enough, we took the first couple of days as a little holiday with Kevin in Yakushima and looking at 3,000-year-old cedar trees.
Oh, we actually didn't get there. We wanted to. But
I'm sure we saw the 1,000-year-old ones. But in one of the signs on one of the trees, it says when there's a stump, the seed comes and sits in the stump, and it regrows the tree.
Yep.
And it just completely reminded me of Isaiah chapter 6. And it was a prophetic picture for me of what God was doing now in Japan. That the holy seed of the gospel was now being planted again.
Yeah.
And what was a stump will begin to grow.
Wow. Incredible. Yeah, I think there are just so many things that happen that just kind of go like, wow, these things are definitely not coincidences. But God's definitely doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say? This is definitely our last episode.
No, we're in the hotel in Fukuoka getting ready to fly out.
Yeah. Lester's definitely getting teary-eyed from what he just said. Yeah. We do have a heart for the land, for the people. Yeah. It's been an incredible time. Yeah, we want to encourage you that um, if you're thinking about coming to Japan, to do a mission trip, to be a part of what God's doing here, we encourage you to do it. Come and see what God is doing here in the midst of this place, and be surprised, be amazed at, just the wonders of how He's regrowing this work in this land. And we want to echo what Pastor Matsumoto said, that while we might conventionally think of Japan as a hard place, but have eyes of faith like Caleb and Joshua, that if God is with us, surely we can take this land, and we can see the name of Jesus being lifted up. Yeah. Let's not be comfortable in our own churches, in our comfort zones of how we understand the Christian walk to be. Step out to see what the global church is like. Be a part of that. Otherwise, we thank you for listening in these 4 episodes talking about Japan. The reason why we want to do this is because we have really benefited from this. And we want as many people as possible listening in to what God is doing here. So we thank you for your time. We thank you for your hearts that have journeyed with us. And if you have been blessed by this, let us know. Share this with people around you so that we can, as a body of Christ, rise up to I don't know, maybe step out into other nations to point people toward Jesus. Yeah, we thank you. And we will see you on our next episode.